And welcome back, this is Butler Scooper with more Let's Play Chrono Cross. I'm joined, as always, by my final party of Serge, Orlha, and Glenn. When we last left off, I took care of some optional stuff, getting doppelgangs for Sprig, trying to show off a little bit of how to get the shiny materials. That is now done. I finished that off screen. Didn't take as long as I thought it would because I didn't deck out everything that I needed, but I got enough for a final party. So let's take a look at the final party in a little more detail than I usually do. I have Serge equipped with the Master Moon A, Prism Mail, Sunglasses, Prism Helmet, and Dragoon's Glory. He is still, by far, my best character. Orlha is decked out with the Spectral Glove, Prism Mail, Prism Helmet, and 2 Power Seals. Even though those aren't going to necessarily be useful for what I'm going to do, I do like having Orlha with a massive amount of attack. She's up to 81. Serge only has 74. Still pretty good. I should point out with Serge, the Master Moon A is what I consider the best weapon in the game. Even though if you're just looking at stats, the Spectra Swallow does have slightly more attack, the Master Moon A does have a higher critical hit rate, which is not listed here, so we're going to stick with the Master Moon A. I like it better. Glenn still has the Einlanzer. I could have given him the Spectral Sword, I believe it's called, the Rainbow Shell Sword, but it's actually not as good as the Einlanzer, so we're going to leave that on him. He has the Prism Mail, Prism Helmet, Moon Glasses, and Power Seal. Moon Glasses might be better on Orlha for what we're about to do, but I figured I should give them to somebody, so Glenn is going to be that somebody. Honestly, Glenn might be the weakest character in terms of physical attack here, and also in magic. No, he's got a little bit higher magic than Orlha, but I have mostly a physically strong party in terms of physical attacks. That is not necessarily going to be all that useful moving forward, but to be honest, you can win with almost any party. Almost. I don't know if you go for like a Turnip Mojo. I don't know if that's going to work, but let's go over the element grid. I went out of my way to do at least a few things here. I have the Chrono Cross equipped. That is the first time in this Let's Play that I have this equipped. The long-lost element of 7th color attributes. We will show off how that works because I have no choice. We are going to do the good ending, and that involves using this element when the time is right. I tried to deck out everybody with level 2 stuff of every elemental color as best as I could. So we have yellow, blue, green, red, white, and black on Serge. So that's what's important, level 1 and level 2. That's pretty much all I care about. After that, it does not really matter. I do have some good stuff here, don't get me wrong, but ultimately it just doesn't matter as much as you might think. With Orlha, I tried to do something similar, right? I said that I was going to put everything that I could in the level 2 slot, so we got 1 of each color there. That will definitely help, and we still have pretty much my healing stuff on level 1. I like having the healing stuff there. With Glenn, it was a little bit harder because he doesn't have enough slots, but he's got 5 in level 2, so I decked him out with 1 of each except for blue, but I do have a Cure Plus on him on level 1, so that could make up for it. That's pretty much the strategy moving forward. After that, it was pretty much just auto-allocate, so it's not necessarily the best setup possible, but I don't think we're necessarily going to need it. So let us head forward. We need to head back to Opassa Beach because we need to travel to Homeworld. Oh, we're gonna watch the cutscene this time. Because we're ready. We are ready. First, though, we are going to talk to all of the characters from Chrono Trigger that are here, which is pretty much just 3. I would say the main three, but I don't know. Wouldn't necessarily say they were the main three. They're up there, but there are other characters that were important in that game too. Why aren't they here? First, we'll talk to Luca. Luca? Thank you. I was like, I know I can talk to them. So you finally made it, Serge. When did this sorry tale all begin? Was it 10 years ago when you almost drowned here? Or was it 14 years ago when you were wounded by that panther demon that attacked you, resulting in you being carried to Chronopolis, where you came into contact with fate in the frozen flame? Or perhaps it was even 2,400 years in the future, when the time crash hurled Chronopolis back to prehistoric times. Or even it could have been 12,000 BC, when an ancient magical kingdom met its end after trying to use Lavos. Each is close to being correct, and yet at the same time so far from the right answer. The true beginning was during the destruction of the ancient kingdom of Zeal. As the palace collapsed around her, Princess Shala was sucked into a dimensional vortex along with the Lavos mammon machine. Scala and Lavos became unified into one even more powerful entity that would evolve into the Devourer of Time. Filled with the hatred and sadness of Lavos, half of Scala's mind became set on destroying all of existence. Yet at the same time, the other half of her mind desired to save the universe and to be rescued herself. As Shala fell through the time gate in this condition, she heard your crying echoing through time. That is when her story and yours began to intertwine. It is also when the past and the future began to intersect, and when the world became divided into two. Led by the pitiful crying the young Serge made as the panther demon's poison took hold of him, Princess Scala traveled 10,000 years in time to try to make contact with this dimension. This caused a raging magnetic storm that resulted in Fate's system malfunction, which led Serge to the frozen flame. Yes, Serge. The sound of your crying touched the heart of Princess Scala. Before the destructive mindset could become dominant, she cloned herself and sent her copy into this dimension. What? Scala left her baby daughter clone with her ancient pendant, possessing magical powers. This was to safeguard her daughter clone in life and death situations. The pendant would rewind time a little, sending her daughter clone into a safer point in the immediate past. Either way, nothing changes who you have become. You're still my precious little sister, kid. And there we get a huge change in one character's backstory. Kid is a clone of Scala, which would explain when Luca wrote that letter who she was talking about and why it's not Marl, even though she looks like Marl. She's actually a clone of Scala. Anything more to say? And now, about Project Kid, the time control project Balthazar planned out. The whole project existed to lead you to this one special point in time. The founding of Chronopolis, the time crash, and the battle between fate and the dragon gods. It was all coordinated so that you would get your hands on the Chrono Cross and come to this place. Of course, Kid was not to know anything about this whole plan until later, when all this will finish. Further in the future, Kid is meant to travel back 10 years in time from now to save Serge from drowning. And then, Kid was also meant to call Serge into the other world as he spoke with Lena here on Opassa Beach. You're our last hope, our final chance. Only you, who came into contact with Scala and Kid, Scala's clone daughter, can do it. In the darkness that exists on the other side of time, Scala has been integrated with the Devourer of Time. Please, Serge, release Princess Scala from the binds of that monster and her own hatred. Show us, the life forms that exist on this planet, what our new future will be. That's a lot of pressure you're putting on me here. So, yeah, the game's kind of backloaded here with plot. I thought that was important enough for that to be brought up before, but Scala cloned herself, and that clone is Kid. So Kid was sent here specifically for Serge. Marl, your thoughts? A new species is about to be born on this planet, an alien life form even more evolved than the old Lavos. At the darkness beyond time, the weakened Scala came under the influence of Lavos, and the two became one entity. It is now up to you, the one whom the frozen flame has chosen as its arbiter. You alone can decide how the new Lavos, which has engaged Scala within it, will evolve from here. Your actions will determine whether in the future all time is devoured by Lavos, sending the world into everlasting death. Balthazar foresaw this was going to happen in his world in the year 2300, and he was determined to prevent it from happening, no matter what it took. The Chrono Cross. It alone can combine the sounds of the planet that the 6 types of elements produce. The melody and harmony that brim within all life forms. Use the song of life to heal her enmity and suffering. We entreat you, Surge. Please save Scala. We'll see what we can do. Chrono? Still not sure what voice I should give you. Where even angels lose their way. 10 years ago, you died at this very spot. There's no mistake, you drowned. The truth is, this world in which you were still alive is the irregularity. This is the false reality. 10 years ago, it was the Lynx who tried to kill you at this beach. After Prometheus broke the link between fate and the flame, fate tried to eliminate any obstacle that stood in its way. In the meantime, the 6 dragons had sent Harl forth to try and gain possession of the flame. Harl made contact with Fate's biological incarnation, Lynx, and tricked him into temporarily joining forces. The elimination of the Prometheus circuit's lock on the frozen flame was everyone's top priority. Lynx and Harl abducted Luca, who alone could release the Prometheus lock that guarded the flame. But the whole attempt only ended in failure. Then they just waited for you to appear instead. You see, fate calculated that you would one day cross the dimensions and try to make contact with the flame.